Number one, I would deal with Raila Odinga's engagement in the African Union Commission and his campaign to become the next chair of the AU Commission. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party wishes our esteemed leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the best of luck as he prepares to actively engage in the campaign for the African Union Commission AUC chairmanship. We make this announcement in recognition of Raila Odinga's vast experience in political leadership, dedication to Pan-African ideals, proven track record in conflict resolution, international recognition, and diplomatic acumen, coupled with his unwavering commitment to the development and unity of our continent. As a coalition, we believe that the Right Honorable Odinga's leadership and vision will greatly contribute to the future of the African Union and the broader goals of peace, stability, and prosperity across Africa. Indeed, we are donating to Africa and the world our best and most renowned leader. Mr. Odinga's journey as a statesman has always been marked by his relentless pursuit of justice, democracy, and the welfare of the people. His involvement in the AUC campaign aligns with these values and will allow him to champion the interests of Kenya and the African continent on a global stage. We are confident of his success at the continental stage as he embodies these qualities and stands ready to lead the African Union Commission towards a brighter future for the continent. While our leader embarks on this new chapter, the Azimio coalition remains steadfast with a firm commitment and shared objectives of addressing the issues of concern to our people. We continue to advance the people's agenda for the socio-economic and political transformation and always build on the foundations laid by our leader. We extend our best wishes to the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga as he takes on this significant role. We are confident that his leadership will be instrumental in shaping a brighter future for the African continent. We thank the people of Kenya for their continued support and assure them that our mission for a united, prosperous, and just Kenya remains our guiding light. I'll now ask the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa to do the bit on, we said we have 2 agenda items. Today is Constitution 2010 Day. And for us, it's a very important matter. In fact, we hold the view we should declare a national holiday in order to commemorate the gains, the freedoms made under Constitution 2010. And this document is so critical to the welfare and the future of this country.
27th of August, 14 years ago, we promulgated our Constitution. And we cannot forget that day at Uhuru Park, led by President Mwai Kibaki, Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka. We then had the Honorable Amos Wako as the Attorney General when we celebrated this document. And it is the document that holds us together as a country. It's a document that each leader elected swears to defend and to protect. But it's also a document that has been violated over the last 14 years. And we shall be highlighting the 14-year journey over one of the most progressive constitutions, not just on the continent of Africa, but in the world. The 14th anniversary of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010. Today, we mark 14 years since the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, a supreme document that stands as a cornerstone of our nation's democracy, justice, and equality. On this day, we remember the long journey that brought us to this point, a journey filled with struggle, with sacrifice, and a deep desire to build a nation that upholds the rule of law and the rights of all its citizens. The 2010 Constitution was a beacon of hope, a new beginning that promised to heal the wounds of our past and to guide us toward a bright future. It enshrined the principles of devolution, human rights, and governance, ensuring that power is exercised with transparency, accountability, and always in the service of the people of our great republic. As we reflect on the past 14 years, we must celebrate our achievements under this Constitution. Devolution has brought government closer to the people, enabling local communities to have a greater say in their development. Our Bill of Rights has provided a framework for the protection and promotion of human rights and dignity, ensuring that every Kenyan, regardless of their background, can pursue their dreams in a just society. However, as we celebrate, we must also take stock of the challenges that remain. Foremost amongst this, of course, is corruption, inequality, and the slow pace of implementation of key constitutional provisions that have been hampered and have affected the full realization of the benefits envisioned by the drafters of this great document. Specifically, over the years, the following various challenges have emerged in its interpretation and its implementation. These are some of the gaps that we want to look at and going into the future, see how they can be addressed. On devolution issues, while the Constitution decentralized power to county governments, there have been challenges in the equitable distribution of resources, delayed disbursement of resources to the devolved units, capacity building at the county level, and conflicts between the national and the county governments. Interference with devolved functions. Since the adoption of the devolved system of government, with health as one of the major devolved sectors, the national government has continued to interfere. For example, the recent recruitment of community health workers by the national government in the counties. And you find a situation where the national government wants to manage and even are offering to pay half, and the county governments pay half. While this is not a concurrent function, it is a fully devolved function. So there is that interference in the counties. Also delayed legislation or certain laws required by the Constitution affecting the realization of the specific rights and functions. Completion of the full transfer of functions together with the commensurate resources is yet to be achieved 14 years later. When we come to the judiciary, there has been clearly executive interference. There have been concerns about attempts by the executive branch to undermine the independence of the judiciary, including budgetary constraints and public criticism of the decisions of the courts. Also, when you're looking at judicial accountability, while the judiciary is independent, there have been calls for more robust mechanisms to ensure accountability and integrity of the judiciary itself. When it comes to human rights and freedoms, security versus freedoms, balancing national security and individual freedoms has been contentious, with cases where anti-terrorism laws and measures have been criticized for infringing on civil liberties. We have witnessed police brutality, particularly during these Gen Z demonstrations this year, and last year during the Azimio-led demonstrations. There were also illegal detentions against express provisions of the Constitution. And there has been really criminalization of constitutional rights and freedoms. In the past, there have been attempts to criminalize the right to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and petition authorities as provided under Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. For example, the police brutality witnessed recently when we had demos against the Finance Bill 2024 and last year 2023, we also have an attempt by some of the Kenya Kwanza legislators to limit these rights. And we must mention the bill by the Mbeere Member of Parliament. But we have the colleagues here, Honorable Babu, Honorable Salasi, and all those. We are hoping that such bills that would seek to limit freedoms guaranteed by our Constitution will not see the light of day. Let me also take this opportunity now to invite my brother, Honorable Kioni, to do the last bit of our statement, but to say that whatever that has been done in the last few weeks, actually 2 months, including deployment of KDF in a free and democratic society, we cannot have the military being deployed against its own citizens indefinitely and generally. That cannot be allowed in any free and democratic society. So it is one thing that even as we remember this Constitution, we want to emphasize that the order of deployment that still remains in force should be recalled.
We have the responsibility, of course, as it exists, the Rokosh Zine, to ensure that the part of the Constitution that requires a vibrant opposition is kept going. And under the leadership of our official leader of opposition, Mheshimiwa Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and all those here and many others who are not here. We believe that we have that responsibility as part of ensuring that the Constitution of 2010 is implemented. I will continue with the gaps that have been identified, or the gaps that exist in our 2010 Constitution, by mentioning that the minority rights and special interest groups, including persons with disability, youth, women, and marginalized community, have argued that their constitutional rights have not been fully realized, and that argument is correct. Inequality and discriminations, all Kenyans have a right to full and equal treatment and equal opportunities in political, economic, cultural, and social spheres, as envisaged in Article 27 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. We have recently witnessed discriminative education policies in the name of higher education funding model that has since disenfranchised majority of the young people in the institution of higher learning, and even the attempt by William RUTO to explain it to the young people made him switch the cameras off midway because he could not explain that exercise that is meant to take away education and make it unavailable, and especially to the poor. Electoral system and political representation. Electoral reforms, the electoral process remains fraught with challenges, including allegations of voter fraud, election violence, and the need for more transparent and credible election management. 14 years later, in every election in Kenya, we still witness violations of the general principles of the electoral system as provided for under Article 81 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Gender representation remains another challenge to us as a country. The two-thirds gender rule, which mandates that no more than two-thirds of elective or appointive bodies be of the same gender, has not been fully implemented, particularly in Parliament. This remains a historical challenge, particularly affecting women of Kenya in elective and appointive positions. Corruption and governance. Weak enforcement of anti-corruption laws. Despite strong provisions against corruption, the enforcement of these laws remains weak. High-profile corruption cases often lead to public skepticism about the effectiveness of legal framework. Corruption and mismanagement of public resources remain a bad culture in our systems of governance. I think it is important to know that I think it's only our Constitution that mentions the word corruption, and it was a big debate back 2010, but we all agreed that it is a cancer that we needed to get rid of. 14 years down the line, I think we have achieved very little from this front. Public finance management. Mismanagement and embezzlement of public funds remain significant issues, with devolution sometimes exacerbating these problems at the county level. Public participation, another challenge to our constitution implementation. Lack of effective public engagement, where the constitution promotes public participation in governance. In practice, many citizens feel excluded from meaningful involvement in decision-making processes. Recently, the Court of Appeal ruled that the Finance Act 2023 is unconstitutional due to a flawed public participation process. Additionally, the Finance Act 2024 was rejected by the public due to a lack of meaningful public participation in its enactment. Amendment process and cause for constitutional amendment. Various groups have proposed amendments to address perceived flaws in the Constitution. However, the process is often contentious, raising concerns about the potential erosion of the gains made by the 2010 Constitution, and at the same time, there has been the desire to amend what is not working for our people. Land reforms, land ownership, and land use. Land remains a sensitive issue in Kenya, while challenges in implementing land reforms are outlined in the Constitution, including historical injustice and equitable land distribution. This remains a very sensitive issue that requires proper addressing. Security sector reforms. Again, many attempts have been made into this, but the Constitution envisaged a comprehensive reforms in the security sector, particularly functioning police service. But progress has been slow, leading to a continued issue of police brutality and inefficiency. We remain with a police service on paper, but police force are but a police force in all its actions. These are reminders that our Constitution is a living document, one that requires our constant vigilance and commitment plus respect. As we look to the future, let us recommit ourselves to the values, principles enshrined in our Constitution. Let us work together across all divides to build a Kenya where the rule of law prevails, where every citizen is treated with fairness and dignity, and where our institutions serve the public good. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 is not a legal document. It's a social contract between the government and the people. It is the embodiment of our collective aspirations for a better Kenya. As we move forward, let us ensure that its spirit continues to guide us in our quest for a just, equitable, and prosperous nation. We thank you. God bless the official leader of opposition and the opposition in this country, and God bless Kenya.